Welcome to the Soul Fam Podcast. I'm Diana Marquetta. I'm the host of the Soul Fam Podcast. I'm going to share a little bit of my own personal life with you this week on the Soul Fam Podcast. We had a great guest last week, Haley, the Lucid Mystic, and her specialty is really teaching people how to heal their bodies, their souls, their lives through lucid dreaming. She has 3 fabulous channels, which I will list in the description below. And one of the things that we talked about on the podcast, which I will also link at the end here, is about how to dream lucidly in a really constructive way. And so I just decided I didn't have anybody scheduled for this week. It was a little crazy week. And so I did a dream journal because I wanted to test some of the things that Haley suggested. And then secondly, I'm the kind of person that's not great at affirmations. I can post 1,000 things around my house and I'll forget to do it, or I'll have better things to do or whatever. But I know that there's power in my subconscious. And I know there's power in my auric field. And I feel strongly in the night often that I'm, off in some astral realm fighting wars or living another life. So I really wanted to tap into the consciousness of lucid dreaming and follow some of Haley's suggestions about how to lucid dream. And then really just the fact that keeping a dream journal can prompt your mind to dream more and maybe even dream a little more constructively. So I kind of put it to the test. Maybe you guys will like that, or maybe you won't. But I'm going to talk a little bit about at least the first night's dream, and then we'll see how this goes. So I always basically follow the same ritual every night, which is what Haley suggested. So every night, for whatever it's worth, I sort of wind down by doing red light on my face as I go to sleep, and I listen to a meditation at least 2 or 3 times by the Real Fiorina, which she's on Instagram and she's here on YouTube, but she has a very specific video about rebuking negativity. So I listen to that every night 2 or 3 times, and it kind of helps ease me into that sleep phase. I'm also pretty ritualistic about the time I go to bed because I get up in the morning. I have chores to do. I have a horse. So I'm kind of like, I got to go sleep because I got to get up. So that's why the practice of sleeping is super important to me. And then of dreaming as well. I think it's becoming more important after doing the dream journal this week. So back to the first dream. So here's where I'm at in my life. I'm doing a big transition. Lots of different things are going on. I bet you guys are going through big transitions too. This is a crazy year. The United States itself is going through so much. And so I'm not quite sure what's happening next. In general, for me personally, for the podcast, for my career, for my own personal life, for where I'm going to live, I often question these things. In my first attempt to do dream journaling, I asked right before I went to sleep, or just as I was kind of falling asleep and listening to the meditation, what's going to happen next? I probably didn't realize I was dreaming until closer to about the time I woke up. There may have been other dreams through the night, but I think my dreaming actually kind of took place around 5 a.m. And I generally tend to get up around 6:30 or 7. And I don't know if this is typical or not, but my recollection was that it was around 5 a.m. shortly before, I sort of got up. So in this dream, as I said before, I'm going through this big transition. What's next? And I asked, what's going to happen next? I was in a classroom and it was as though I was watching the classroom from the back, but yet the central character in this classroom dream was also me, which is interesting. And Haley has discussed this, that in sort of lucid dreaming, you have the ability to kind of control the dream, move around in the dream, see yourself in the dream. And so that was definitely happening in this particular situation. Also in this dream, I was in a classroom, but it was almost not underwater, underground, but there was clearly a big storm going on outside, which looked a bit like a tsunami or a tidal wave, but there was a mix of dirt as well. So it could have been an earthquake. And I live in California right now. So as you all know, we are the home of natural disasters. There's always just another disaster right around the corner. That was definitely going on outside the classroom. The windows were big clear glass pane windows. It actually almost looked like a restaurant that's kind of famous in Malibu, which used to be called the Chart House. It is now something very different. You can see its big, huge windows that look out on the ocean, and it was beautiful during its day. It was definitely the old Chart House, not as the new restaurant that it is now. It was a little dark and a little older. And in the classroom, the seats were metal and wood. They seemed a little dated. Also, the students in the class were the cast of a film I just worked on called Saturday. It's an independent film called Saturday. Just so you know, it'll be out at some point, and it's a sort of Breakfast Club meets High School Musical. And the cast is some young SAG actors. They are great. They dance, they sing. They're really, really talented. And I enjoyed working with this cast so much during this production called Saturday. We filmed in different locations here in Los Angeles in classrooms. Not all in classrooms, theaters, outdoors, but it was all on school grounds. It'll be cool. Trust me, it's going to be really cool. The message that I was hearing as I was standing at the back of the classroom, watching the kids sitting in the chairs and sort of watching the disaster go on around, and I kept it all in my dream journal here, you guys, was to protect the children at all costs. And it's interesting because this particular cast that was in this film, they're young adults, their ages at least 20 up to 30, actually. So a lot of these young actors have experience already. They've already been in films. They've already done shows. You can find them on TikTok. They're around. And then we also had some stars in the film from High School Musical and from Glee. But in this particular situation, it was all the younger cast that was in the classrooms. So the message to me was definitely protect the children. And Sally Jesse Raphael, who is at the front of the class, is an old-time talk show host. She was sort of one of the founding talk show hosts many years ago. And she and Phil Donahue kind of led the stream of talk show hosts from way, way back. Phil Donahue was a famous talk show host who passed not that long ago. Very compassionate, really interesting, thought-provoking talk show host way before Oprah, God forbid, and was kind of the godfather of all this. And Sally Jesse Raphael was also part of this genre at the time, but she was a little more hardcore. Like, you didn't want to mess around with Sally Jesse. She wore these big red glasses, and she also was very compassionate and very, very heart-centered, but there was a little bit of an edge to Sally Jesse Raphael. And so she was looking at me and she said, "What do you want? What is it?" But I could feel like I was her at the same time. And I kind of went up next to her and she's like, "Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing." And she kind of turned away and I kind of morphed into being her at the same time. Weird. But it's interesting because this is a talk show in a sense. This is an interview show. The Soul Fam podcast is an interview show because I am fascinated by the metaphysical and the psychic and the universe in general and our multi-dimensional universe and our multi-dimensional selves, I might say. I mean, we're all pretty incredible. Really, we are. And we have a lot of power that is untapped, which is why I kind of dived into the dream world, because I feel like I can tap into that better than I really can as far as manifestations go or affirmations go than I can in my day-to-day world. I trust my dream world more than I trust my day-to-day world, really. That was a dream. The other aspect that Haley said that I would feel, or we would feel, in keeping a dream journal is that we're sort of queuing up our brains to get ready to dream. And that definitely happened throughout this week. I also, as Haley said, felt very different during the day. It wasn't as though I was in the dream, but boy, I could still feel elements of that dream as I was walking around in my day. Whether I was feeding my horse or I was at the gym or I was doing some work or something like that in my other life. But that elements of that dream, it sort of felt like this soot that was still around me. And I don't mean soot. It's sort of like this energy that was still around me from the dream. And in the dream, I was both feeling like a leader of the kids or a protector of the kids. And I also did really feel like Sally Jesse Raphael there for a minute. So that was kind of cool. It's like she has this leadership position, and that made me feel as though I maybe will have the opportunity to be in sort of a leadership position in our community, in our conscious, spiritual, weird, explore the universe sort of world. I'm hopeful. So that's it for now. I hope that kind of closed the loop on it. I hope you'll maybe look into doing a dream journal yourself if you're going through something, or you question something, or you have a health issue even, because I really found it valuable. I'm going to express that in the next couple of videos also, but this was really valuable. And Haley is very committed to what she does, as are all of our experts that we interview. They're very committed and they really want to serve. But Haley has her own experience, which you will, if you listen to or watch the video, she healed herself from serious digestive issues when she was a teenager. So she very powerfully believes in her ability and to self-heal and to help others heal and to accomplish your dreams in your dreams. It's cool. So I hope you'll listen and watch the video. I hope this was helpful to you too, because I really found this helpful throughout the week. And I actually got some clarity on some other things that are kind of going on in my life. And they're just issues, it's just stuff. It's just human stuff that we experience right now. Not anything earth shattering, but it was helpful. So thank you again. Thank you for liking and subscribing the Soul Fam podcast. This is my little mission here. We're waking up. We're all awake. Maybe we're all awake. I don't know. Maybe we just got to remember that we're awake. Really? So, but thank you. Thank you so much. And please remember to like and subscribe. It makes a massive difference. Let me tell you. And share if you like. And please start your own dream journal and see what happens and let us know. Make some comments. I'm curious. Have a great week. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Soul Fam podcast.